The Battle of La Bassée was fought by German and Franco-British forces in northern France in October 1914, during reciprocal attempts by the contending armies to envelop the northern flank of their opponent, which has been called the Race to the Sea. The German Sixth Army took Lille before a British force could secure the town, and the Fourth Army attacked the exposed British flank further north at Ypres. The British were driven back and the German army occupied La Bassée and Neuve-Chapelle. Around the 15th of October, the British recaptured Givenchy-les-La Bassée but failed to recover La Bassée. German reinforcements arrived and regained the initiative, until the arrival of the Lahore Division, part of the Indian Corps. The British repulsed German attacks until early November, after which both sides concentrated their resources on the First Battle of Ypres, and the battle at La Bassée was reduced to local operations. In late January and early February 1915, German and British troops conducted raids and local attacks in the affairs of Cuinchy, which took place at Givenchy-les-La Bassée and just south of La Bassée Canal, leaving the front line little changed. Background: strategic developments from the 17th of September to the 17th of October. The belligerents had tried to turn the northern flank of their opponent. Joffre ordered the French Second Army to move to the north of the French Sixth Army, by moving from eastern France from 2 to 9 September, and Falkenhayn ordered the German Sixth Army to move from the German-French border to the northern flank on the 17th of September. Next day, French attacks north of the Aisne led to Falkenhayn to order the Sixth Army to repulse the French and secure the flank. When the French advanced on the 24th of September, they met a German attack rather than an open flank, and by the 29th of September, the Second Army had been reinforced to 8 corps and extended north, but was still opposed by German forces near Lille, rather than an open flank. The German Sixth Army had also found that on arrival in the north, it was forced to oppose the French attack rather than advance around the flank, and that the secondary objective of protecting the northern flank of the German armies in France had become the main task. Tactical developments: by the 6th of October, the French needed British reinforcements to withstand German attacks around Lille. The BEF had begun to move from the Aisne to Flanders on the 5th of October, and reinforcements from England assembled on the left flank of the 10th Army, which had been formed from the left flank units of the Second Army on the 4th of October. The Allies and the Germans attempted to take more ground, after the open northern flank had disappeared. Franco-British attacks towards Lille in October, being followed up by attempts to advance between the BEF and the Belgian army by a new French 8th Army. The moves of the German 7th and then the 6th Army from Alsace and Lorraine had been intended to secure German lines of communication through Belgium, where the Belgian army had sortied several times from Antwerp. During the period between the Franco-British retreat and the Battle of the Marne, in August, British Marines had landed at Dunkirk. In October, a new German Fourth Army was assembled from the 3rd Reserve Corps. The siege artillery used against Antwerp and 4 of the new Reserve Corps training in Germany. Flanders Terrain, the northeast of France and the southwest Belgium, were known as Flanders. West of a line between Arras and Calais in the northwest, lay chalked downlands covered with soil sufficient for arable farming. East of the line, the land declines in a series of spurs into the Flanders plain, bounded by canals linking Douai, Bethune, Saint-Omer and Calais. To the southeast, canals ran between Lens, Lille, Roubaix and Courtrai, the Lys River. From Courtrai to Ghent, and to the northwest lay the sea. The plain was almost flat, apart from a line of low hills from Cazel, east to Mont des Cats, Mont-Noir, Montrouge, Scherpenberg and Mont-Kemmel. From Kemmel, a low ridge lay to the northeast, declining in elevation past Ypres through Whiteskeet, Gelleveld and Passchendaele, curving north then northwest to Dixmude, where it merged with the plain. A coastal strip about 10 miles wide was near sea level and fringed by sand dunes. Inland the ground was mainly meadow, cut by canals, dikes, drainage ditches and roads built up on causeways. The Lys, Yser and Upper Scheldt had been canalized, and between them the water level underground was close to the surface, rose further in the autumn and filled any dip, the sides of which then collapsed. The ground surface quickly turned to a consistency of cream cheese, and on the coast troops were confined to roads, except during frosts. The rest of the Flanders plain was woods and small fields, divided by hedgerows planted with trees and cultivated from small villages and farms. The terrain was difficult for infantry operations because of the lack of observation, impossible for mounted action because of the many obstructions, and difficult for artillery because of the limited view. South of La Bassée Canal around Lens and Bethune was a coal mining district full of slag heaps, pit heads and miners' houses. North of the canal, the city of Lille, Tourcoing and Roubaix formed a manufacturing complex, with outlying industries at Armentières, Camins, Halluin and Menin, along the Lys River, with isolated sugar beet and alcohol refineries and a steel works near Aire. Intervening areas were agricultural, with wide roads on shallow foundations and unpaved mud tracks in France and narrow pavé roads along the frontier and in Belgium. In France, the roads were closed by the local authorities during thaws to preserve the surface and marked by barrières fermées, which were ignored by British lorry drivers. The difficulty of movement after the end of summer absorbed much local labour on road maintenance, leaving field defences to be built by front-line soldiers. Prelude. Franco-British offensive preparations. By the 4th of October, the troops under Morda were in danger of encirclement. German troops had reached Givenchy, northwest of Vimy, and the French division on the northern flank was separated from the cavalry operating further north. A gap had also been forced between 10th Corps and the territorial divisions to the south. Castelnau and Morda wished to withdraw, but rather than lose all of northern France, Joffre created a new 10th Army from Mauduit's forces and gave Castelnau a directive to maintain the Second Army in its positions, until the pressure of operations further north diminished the power of German attacks between the Oise and the Somme. Foch was appointed deputy to Joffre and given command of all French troops in the north. On the 6th of October, the French line from the Oise to Arras was secured. Joffre and French had also agreed to concentrate the BEF around Delens, Arras and Saint-Pol, ready for operations on the left of the 10th Army. By the 8th of October, the French 21st Corps had moved its left flank to Vermelles, just short of La Bassée Canal. Further north, the French I and 2nd Cavalry Corps under Conneau and Demitry, part of the 87th Territorial Division and Sim Chasseurs, held a line from Bethune to Esters, Merville, Aire, Foret de Clermarais and Saint-Omer, where the rest of the 87th Territorial Division connected with Dunkirk, Cassel and Lille further east were still occupied by French troops. Next day, the German 14th Corps arrived opposite the French, which released the German 1st and 2nd Cavalry Corps to attempt a flanking move between La Bassée and Armentières. The French cavalry were able to stop the German attack north of the La Bassée Canal. The 4th Cavalry Corps further north managed to advance and on the 7th of October, passed through Ypres before being forced back to Bailleul by French territorial troops near Hazebrouck. From 8 to 9 October, the British 2nd Corps arrived by rail at Abbeville and was ordered to advance on Bethune. The British 1st and 2nd Cavalry Divisions covered the arrival of the infantry, and on the 10th of October, using motor buses supplied by the French 2nd Corps, advanced 22 miles. By the end of the 11th of October, 2nd Corps held a line from Bethune to Hinges and Coux, with flanking units on the right 3.5 miles south of Bethune and on the left 4.5 miles to the west of the town. On the 12th of October, the 2nd Corps divisions attacked to reach a line from Givenchy to Pont du Hem, 6 miles north of La Bassée Canal, across ground which was flat and dotted with farms and buildings as far as a low ridge 10 miles east of Bethune. The German defenders of the Iron 2nd Cavalry Corps and attached Jaeger disputed every tactical feature, but the British advance continued and a German counter-attack near Givenchy was repulsed. The British dug in from Noyelles to Fosse. On 13 October, the 2nd Corps attack by the 3rd Division and the French 7th Cavalry Division gained little ground, and Givenchy was almost lost when the German attacked in a rainstorm, the British losing c. 1,000 casualties. German offensive preparations. The Sixth Army had arrived in northern France and Flanders from the south and progressively relieved German cavalry divisions. 7th Corps taking over from La Bassée to Armentières on 14 October, 19th Corps next day around Armentières, and 13th Corps from Warnton to Menin. Attacks by the British 2nd and 3rd Corps caused such casualties that 13th Corps was transferred south from 1819 October as a reinforcement. The Sixth Army line from La Bassée to Armentières and Menin was ordered not to attack until the operations of the new Fourth Army in Belgium had begun. Both armies attacked on 20 October, the 14th, 7th, 13th and 19th Corps of the Sixth Army making a general attack from Arras to Armentières. Next day the Northern Corps of the Sixth Army attacked from La Bassée to Saint-Yves and gained little ground, but prevented British and French troops from being moved north to Ypres and the Yser fronts. On 27 October, Falkenhayn ordered the Sixth Army to move heavy artillery north for the maximum effort on 29 October at Gelliveld, to reduce its attacks on the southern flank against 2nd and 3rd Corps and to cease offensive operations against the French further south. Armeegruppe von Fabeck was formed from 13th Corps and reinforcements from the armies around Verdun, which further depleted the Sixth Army and ended the offensive from La Bassée north to the Lys.